Off the Wall by the Financial Mirror, an interesting discussion with one of our friends, Michael Olympios, economist. Michali, welcome back.
Thank you.
In the news recently has been Donald Trump's election, and he's back in the White House. Even leading up to the elections in the United States, there had been a lot of discussion about the impact of U.S.-China tariff wars, U.S.-Europe. Even tiny little Cyprus had something to say about the prospects Cyprus could have in Washington, D.C. How will a new Trump administration actually deal with all these issues? We're also in a very volatile region. The Middle East, Ukraine, Balkans, EU, US, NATO, EU, NATO. There's a lot to talk about.
Yes. Well, thank you for having me in your program. I think that a new Trump administration will challenge the relationship of Europe with the United States, in the sense that Donald Trump is unpredictable, and that's what people who work with him are saying.
He's predictably unpredictable.
Right.
Yes.
Like John Bolton.
Mm-hmm.
I've recently read his book, and he's suggesting that Donald Trump has very little understanding about foreign policy and the importance of United States being a reliable leader.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the United States is not a reliable leader, then there will be a lot of changes in what we call global order. For instance, the war in Ukraine. What does it mean for Europe? Well, I think that if Russia and Putin is allowed to have a chunk of a weaker country and change the borders, that is a direct violation of UN Charter and the global order. Then what is stopping other countries like Turkey annexing Cyprus?
Or northern Syria or northern Iraq.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
Not to mention about China and Taiwan.
And the Philippines and so much more in that region.
And
yes.
China and Vietnam.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, nearly every country in Asia, Africa, they have disputes, border disputes with their neighbors. Now, these disputes have somehow been dormant. There are disputes between China and India.
Yes.
Border disputes. And there has been exchange of fire even recently.
Yes.
So the United States over the decades has managed to exercise some sort of a global policing.
Mm-hmm.
This global policing has not been perfect, and in fact, many suggested that at certain points in history, it has failed.
Yeah.
And it has. But just because the police from time to time is making wrong arrests,
yes,
it doesn't mean that we don't need a police.
Exactly.
It means that we need to improve the policing.
Yes. Yes.
So the NATO is a global alliance, is a global defense alliance for Europe. If the United States pulls out of NATO, as John Bolton suggested that there is a possibility under a Trump administration,
yeah,
then we're looking at a totally different ball game in the security of Europe.
Because Trump and others are disappointed that the Europeans are not participating enough in NATO. That's the bottom line. I mean,
let me give an example how the Biden administration dealt with these issues and the NATO alliance.
mhm.
We all know that Turkey and Greece, two NATO allies, have quarrel in the
Over
past
decades,
in the past
centuries.
decades over the Aegean and Cyprus. Okay, now under the Biden administration, those issues are being discussed between Turkey and Greece, and for the first time, Greece has the upper hand because the Biden administration took the decision that Greece must be allowed to have a better air force,
Mhm.
and
With the F-35 program. Yes.
with the F-35 and the Rafales,
Mhm.
while Turkey, because it was because Turkey created a relationship outside the alliance with the acquisition of the S-400s from Russia and the strengthening of defense relations with a dictatorship, effectively, because in Europe we consider now Russia a dictatorship. It prevented Turkey from, it threw out Turkey from the F-35 program,
Yes.
and only recently it allowed Turkey to acquire some
The upgraded F-16s. Yes.
and also acquire some more F-16s.
Yes.
But the F-16s obviously are no match for the Rafale, which is a 4.5 generation fighter, or the F-35s.
Yeah.
And we have seen the enormous capabilities of the F-35s with the Israelis.
Mm-hmm.
They went all the way to Iran and completed a very important mission, and they came back and they were totally undetected.
Yes.
So the capabilities of the F-35s are enormous. Now,
how will this change with the Trump administration?
Right.
Or will it change?
Well, we all know that Trump has an affinity to Putin.
Mm-hmm.
He said that he will end the war in Ukraine within minutes, days, I'm not sure, hours.
Yes,
whatever.
short term. Yeah.
Yeah. That is not going to happen because obviously Putin will not agree to go back to the 1991 borders and leave Ukraine alone. And if we do not respect the territorial integrity of every country, then we are going to go back to the early 1900s, where a stronger country will acquire territory from its weaker neighbors.
Yes, yes.
We don't want to go back there.
So the only country that can play a policing role is the United States. And what you're saying,
The
Mihaly,
United
is
States
that...
and NATO.
Yes. So what you're saying basically is, instead of using the cliche, make America great again, perhaps the new term should be make America a leader again. Is that what is requested?
I think that would be fantastic if the policies will move in that direction. In other words, for the United States to bring more peace and prosperity in the world. Now, a lot of people are saying the United States has brought 2 wars. This is absurd. How the United States brought the war in the Middle East or in Ukraine?
Yeah.
The United States warned the world of the pending aggression of Russia and took many steps months before the invasion occurred.
Yes.
In order to limit this aggression. The United States has also played a vital role during the Biden administration in preventing Russia from using tactical nuclear weapons. It threatened Russia not to use tactical nuclear weapons because that will create not only a dangerous precedent, but it would threaten the security of all of Europe and hence our own security here in Cyprus. People don't understand that. A lot of people in Cyprus think that security is inevitable. No, it's not inevitable. Things can change overnight.
Of course. But the issue here is not about the tactical wars. We're also looking at economic wars. Trump has been not accused, but markets initially, they were afraid that with Donald Trump coming in, first of all, he would start talking about trade tariff wars with the EU, and most important, tariff wars with China. For him, that is more important than Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Now, these trade wars could also lead up to geostrategic clashes. So, what are we looking at? Are we looking at something new, or are we looking at perhaps again the need for the United States to play a leading role in more parts of the world?
Yeah, I agree with this suggestion, but with Trump, everything's unpredictable. Trump has no ideology. He's saying things that help him to get reelected, and
well, he won the popular vote.
Right.
I mean,
and
people wanted
we
that.
We are not sure which of these things he will implement, if any. So
yes.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
But one thing that he has succeeded is he's boosted the price of Bitcoin. The Trump administration in the past as well, and his advisors have been very pro-crypto.
Yeah, well, that's I'm not sure if the crypto is something that the global economy needs right now. Financial markets, let's be clear about something about financial markets. The cornerstone of the success of financial market has been transparency that builds trust. If we don't have transparency, then trust is eroded and financial markets crash. Okay? So whatever we do in financial markets, what we call the financial market evolution needs always to take into consideration transparency and the maintaining of trust in our markets, without which we will go back to the barter system.
Yes, but trust is only won through regulation and through stability. So perhaps, on the regulation side, we've seen that, but on the issue of crypto or any other markets, perhaps we'll see how the markets react to the Trump election and whether that is giving out a message of stability to the markets.
Well, I think the policies that will be implemented in the future, in the near future, will be telling about how markets will react and how markets will, let's say, assess the performance of the new Trump administration with respect to the foreign policy issues and the trade issues that you have mentioned.
Yes. So in actual fact, it will be very interesting to see who his new cabinet members will be and who will be the key persons in the new Trump administrations, because there's always been 2 or 3 key persons that Trump really trusts.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting to see who those new persons will be.
And if I may, it would be very interesting to see if there will be any adults in the room.
Thank you very much, Michali. We end on that note. Off the Wall, Financial Mirror, interesting discussion. Michalis Olympios, economist and economic historian, I would say. Thank you, Michali.
Thank you very much.